West Virginia and TCU, these Big 12 expansion rumors have really heated up in the last couple of weeks because there was this prominent advisor to the ACC who said we need to go get TCU and West Virginia. And I started thinking about it. As much as we, the Big 12, think that the Big 12 is going to go poaching on this poaching spree of ACC teams, the ACC is going to try to recoup when inevitably Clemson, Florida State, and UNC leave. Florida State's having a Board of Regents meeting coming up this Friday, actually, that could get pretty nasty when it comes to expansion, realignment, and them wanting to leave that conference. Do you think West Virginia wants to go? Do you think TCU wants to leave? Here's part of this, is these universities will have a say in where their future lies. And if you're West Virginia, the West Virginia fan sees the football schedule and says, we don't have any close football games. The West Virginia fan says, I can't drive to any of these games. Whereas in the ACC, you've got Pitt, who's right there. You've got Virginia Tech, where you say, all right, yeah, let's hop in the car. Let's go to these games. Look at this. I want to read the schedule out to you for West Virginia in Big 12 play this season. West Virginia went on the road to face TCU. West Virginia went on the road to face Houston. They'll go on the road to face UCF. They'll be on the road against Oklahoma and against Baylor. You can't drive to any of those games. None of these are closed. This is just a terrible geographical situation for West Virginia fans, and I know many of them would want to go to the ACC. Now, if the money's in the Big 12, you wouldn't pass that up. But proximity is in the ACC. The Pitt rivalries in the ACC, and it's the same reason that TCU's name is being thrown in this hat. Let's not pretend here. West Virginia is not the Mecca pinnacle of education in America, and that's fine. It's one of the best party schools out there. It's one of the best, to me, and some will disagree, it's one of historically the best athletic schools, especially in football. They are so good year in and year out, despite what Neil Brown wants you to think at football. He's the losingest coach since 1978. That says a lot about the history of West Virginia football. This is a great institution. Not academically. And that's what the ACC prides itself on. And that's what the ACC would go after TCU for, because TCU, next to SMU, says, hey, look, we pride ourselves on academics. And the ACC wants rivalries. What brings in money? What brings in big viewership? It's rivalries. TCU has one of those against SMU that today is not at the forefront of college athletics. People are not talking about TCU and SMU every year like, oh, can't wait to see that game. No. But they could. It has the making of that. So you send them to the ACC and have them set up with SMU. It gives SMU a partner in that conference geographically as well. And you now have a second middleman between Cal, Stanford, and the East Coast. For West Virginia, you give them proximity. This would all occur after the current TV deal is up. So we're looking at like a 2030 for this whole thing to go down. But the fact that a very prominent member of the ACC conference, a Wake Forest donor and advisor, someone who's helped call the shots in that league and has helped give the league direction, is saying we as a conference need to go after West Virginia and TCU. We shouldn't take this lightly. We shouldn't take this as, oh, here's some rogue guy who said some stuff. This dude sold his company for $2 billion and has since poured a lot of that money back into that conference, is a tight advisor with people at Florida State, a tight advisor with people across this conference from presidents to ADs, and has communicated with ADs what the future of the league needs to be. He's like a quasi Brett Yormark. He's like their pocket Brett Yormark. This guy's an unbelievable businessman saying, hey, here's where you go next. Here's what you do next. Here's where this thing ends up. And the way that he sees it, Ben Sutton is this guy's name. This is all the stuff we broke down late last week on the show. And the way that he sees this thing shaking out is this top-down college setup where it's one or two major conferences and everybody else gets left behind. His whole goal, which makes a lot of sense, is to get ahead of what the Pac-12 was. And instead of just sitting around and waiting and trying to demand things, going and taking teams, doing what the Big 12 is doing, taking teams to build up to be one of those power conferences when everything is said and done, because that's the trajectory of where we're going. And if the ACC, who currently has less money per school than the Big 12, thinks that it can change that the next TV deal, the next time that goes around and the Big 12 has to reevaluate, or the ACC has reworked its TV deal because 3 teams have decided to leave, and there are a lot of ins and outs to that, they feel confident that West Virginia and TCU are in the fold for that conference. So my question is, let's play God here. If you're a president at TCU or West Virginia, if you're in charge at TCU or West Virginia, would you leave? Given the offer right now, the pen and paper, contracts on your desk, you make the call. Will you leave the Big 12, considering the future of college athletics and what all is left and where everything is going to this week? We talked about a super conference deal. Would you call the shot? TCU join SMU, Pitt right there waiting for West Virginia. Would you do it? It's in your hands. I wouldn't, but you tell me, would you leave the Big 12? Hopefully the answer is no for you and the powers that be. This has been and always will be. Come back tomorrow. We'll do more Big 12 stuff. This has been and always will be Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Doce Grande.